when you're innovating on things on techniques, on knowledge that you gained by chance in some sense during your short career. I'm very happy I could be useful to humanity. The living organism, especially like humans, is very, very complex. Don't forget that artificial intelligence is coming out. Sleep at night, dream, have fun.
Hello and welcome to Nobel Fest podcast. Today is 5th of October 2023 and we are hosting this podcast on the sideline of 6th annual Nobel Fest based here in the beautiful city Astana of Kazakhstan. I'm your host, Daniel Nogerbek, and it is a great pleasure and honor for me to host a very special guest, Dr. Pascal Mayer, who is a French biophysicist and CEO and co-founder of Alpha Noses SAS. Hello.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for the broadcast, for inviting
Pascal,
me.
if you don't mind, I will make a brief introduction about you to our listeners.
You're telling me?
So, Dr. Pascal Mayer, who jointly with Shankar Balasubramanian and David Kleinerman won the Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences in 2022 for his discovery of next-generation sequencing technology, which revolutionized DNA analysis. It is thanks to this technology, NGS helps to analyze DNA at much higher speeds. So today, this technology can be used more cheaply and more efficiently at a faster speed, and it has applications in different areas. It has applications in medicine, in forensic science, in vaccines, in cancer research, and so on, etc. I would like to say a couple of words about the Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences. So the award for this prize is $3 million. So it's 3 times more money than the Nobel Committee provides to the Nobel laureates. And so, Pascal, I would like to welcome you again and ask you about your visit to Kazakhstan. So you're visiting Nobel Fest here in Astana. Could you please tell us why did you come and what you will be telling about to Nobel Fest participants?
So why I was coming is for the purpose of the Nobel Fest, which is to promote science in, as I have been told by the president, in developing countries. I'm not sure Kazakhstan is really developing countries, but it's certainly an emerging country doing very well and quick. And I liked the idea of being together with other Nobel Prize winners, with great people, great thinkers, great entrepreneurs. And so this was a big motivation. I also, French people are always a little bit special. I checked also the situation of Kazakhstan, what it is. I did some homework and I found it's a great and courageous country which can take courageous positions given the international situation, and which is promoting knowledge, it's promoting progress, it's promoting entering in the 21st century. So I thought must be a great place to go, and I went.
Well, certainly the participants of Nobel Fest are incredibly lucky, because not every day you can listen to such a visionary as yourself. Because as I said to you earlier, like people like me who have a desk job, we have work paper and stuff, and scientists like you effectively change the face of medicine. You're changing the course of civilization, and we are clearly very happy to host you here and very lucky. So let's move on. So as I said you're most famous for your that you won this Life Sciences Award for next generation sequencing. The first time you started thinking about it, it was 25 years ago.
Yes.
25 years ago is a lot of time. And
it is.
25 years ago, medicine and bioscience was not so developed. So could you tell us why NGS is so important and revolutionary? And how did you come up with this idea almost 25 years ago?
So let's put the question in different order. So why did I come to this? 25 years ago, the first human genome was not yet fully sequenced, so we didn't have a reference sequence of it. It was going on. It is estimated to have cost $3 billion for one genome and took about estimated 10 years. And then there was additional work to have it 100% finished. So there was a need for new technology. The technology used by then was cumbersome. I used it as a student, as a postdoc, and I was not satisfied with it. I thought that there could be better things to be done. I tried to... So when you're innovating on things on techniques, on knowledge that you gained by chance in some sense during your short career. And I tried to put such things together in order to generate a new, faster technology. What the big difference that this makes today is that you can do very large-scale DNA sequencing without having to make hypotheses on what you are looking for. The best example is how coronavirus was discovered in the first COVID patients. I was not involved, to make it clear, in the work that in this particular work.
But your work was the foundation.
Yeah, the technology was the foundation. Yeah, and the concept behind a little bit. That is to say, let's take a piece of DNA and sequence it all, and then we will sort out what's in here. Whereas before, scientists made hypothesis on what they were looking and that we're trying to find it. It's here, okay, they get it. It's not there. They didn't get anything right, anything out of it. So that was hypothesis-driven discovery. Whereas here you can make work without making any a priori hypothesis. You sequence everything that's in your sample, and then you use computers to analyze what's in and to look what's there to see, not what you are initially looking for, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. You know, it's really amazing that something that you started working 25 years ago and then continuing to work these days, this technology can be used to save lives.
Exactly.
Because the fact that they used this technology to identify COVID variants, and this obviously helped to developing the vaccines. So could you tell us, how do you feel that the work that you have done is saving millions of lives? I'm not sure whether it's millions, but it's saving a lot of lives during the COVID era. How do you feel about that?
Yes, it was only one piece of saving lives. The other piece was the vaccine discovery and other stuff. Of course, you have a great sense of satisfaction, of proudness about this. So not much more than that I can say. I'm very happy I could be useful to humanity. Let's say not more. So happy it got recognized by the Breakthrough Prize. It took about 25 years. It's a technology that is broadly used, but not only very few people knew where it came from and who were the people behind. And I'm not the only one behind this. I was surrounded by great other scientists, a great team that helped me to develop the technology. I want to cite it in particular Laurent Farinelli, who was with me at the very beginning of this project and who deserves also recognition. And many others, I try to citate them on LinkedIn article which I post.
That's really amazing. Before we move on to the next subject, so I want to make this a little bit clearer to our listeners, who not all of them, have a deep understanding of DNA sequencing. So we covered real life applications like identifying COVID variants. Can you provide some other examples how the improved speed of DNA sequencing and working with the DNA helps in real life across the world?
Yeah, I would present two examples briefly. One is in science, in ecological science. Now when you want to know which living species are in water, in a river or something, you take some water of it and you sequence all the DNA that's inside. And so you get a picture of what is living in there without having to capture actually the creatures of the bacteria, of the fungi, whatever, of the botanicals that live inside. So it's amazing, faster than anything else. And this is enabled only by the concepts behind the next generation sequencing, which we launched then. Another example is in forensics.
Yes.
When you have mixed DNA. Yeah. So at some point, I remember there were killers or burglars that were walking around with sprays of DNA to spray DNA everywhere, and so it would be difficult to identify them. With that technology now, it's not possible. You sequence every...
It was the real cases.
Yeah.
It was real cases in real life.
Yeah.
This criminals are smart.
Yeah, so they were smart, but the technology and the science was smarter because now with that next generation sequencing technology, you can sequence all the DNA that's inside, and then you can identify every person or even animals eventually that were present on the crime scene, not even if fake DNA has been put on the crime scene.
This is simply mind-blowing, mind-blowing. So this technology, do law enforcement use this new technology today, or is it the technology of the future?
It's technology of today. It's the only one that allows you to do this, so definitely it's used.
My lord, so you not only save lives, you also help catch criminals.
Yeah, again, my work that incepted that technology, I'm not involved in this. Because
not directly, of course.
Yeah.
But the work that you have done is the foundation of this applications in the modern world today, and it's really incredible, and it's an honor for me to be here. So let us talk a little bit about the future of NGS, about the future of DNA analysis and sequencing, about its effect on cancer research. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Yeah, I'd like to say two things on the next generation sequencing per se. For instance, in cancer research will allow to identify very precisely which kind of tumor you are suffering, or maybe it can be mixed cell lines. It may also allow to identify other causes of cancer, and there are groups, including the USA, working with next generation sequencing on looking at the whole tumoral ecosystem, and they're finding, for instance, bacteria inside, they're finding viruses inside. So it opens new horizons to cancer research. The other thing that I would want to say is that all that genetic research ended up showing that the living organism, especially like humans, is very, very complex. Yeah. It's so complex that I like to say you can understand every detail of it, but you cannot understand it in every detail. So that means that the complexity is such that you cannot count on knowing it in all detail and then predict what you would need to do. And in that sense, you need to have novel therapeutic approaches which don't rely on what was called precision medicine, but rather on some sense of statistical biophysical pharmaceuticals, which I'm working on right now.
Absolutely. Well, it's really amazing what science can do, right?
Yeah, it looks like good things, bad things.
We have listeners of our podcast. They're people across Kazakhstan and beyond, and a lot of them are students. High school students, college students, university students. What advice can you give to prospective scientists for children for those who study at school right now and thinking, should they go and apply to finance major or should they go to apply to physics? Or about people who study biology or physics at university right now? What will be your advice to them? How should they make sure that they're choosing the right path, and what can they do to succeed? And maybe one of them, listening to your words, will make another revolutionary discovery like yourself.
Yeah, your question is complex. The first element of answer is that every student needs to think about what he wants to achieve, what's most important to him. Is it to become rich, or is it to act for forging a better world for his upcoming children and grandchildren? And for me, it was always more of a second. I would have loved to get rich in the same time, but I didn't. So far, I might be still become, thanks to the Alpha Gnosis company right now, but it's not.
Don't forget about your $1 million that you earned.
Yeah, it's one. It's the 3 millions are shared between the different winners. So we had one, and one is a lot for when you don't have much. But in the end, it's everything is expensive as soon as you go beyond the very basic needs. So and I invested a lot also already in the company, and so it's I'm not poor, but I don't think I can say I'm rich for the moment. So it may sound amazing when you are a student and you have difficulties to make ends meet each month, but it takes more than $1 million to be rich today.
All right, let me rephrase the question. So
you can cut if you want.
Let's assume there is a student, a talented student, a smart student who studies physics or biology. What can he do to make a similar breakthrough that you have done? Is it a question of luck? Is it a question of, choosing the right topic at the right time? Is it a question of cooperating with the right academic professionals at the right time? Is hard work enough?
No, you said many of the things that are necessary. Luck is among them, but I summarize it differently. And of course, hard work by itself is not enough. And sometimes it's very frustrating to people who devote their life to making hard work in science. But it's not just about hard work. It's about two things, I think. One is to look at what you learned. And this is many by chance. You were here, you were there, you learned this, you learned that, and that's what you have to eventually then innovate. You need to rely on what you have to innovate, and then you need to think out of the box. And today I would even give more advice and warning to students is that don't forget that artificial intelligence is coming out.
Yeah.
So everything that is based only on knowledge of existing science, of existing experiments, anything that can be obtained from just assembling this knowledge can be done much faster and cheaper and better by artificial intelligence. So really, if you want to make a breakthrough at some point, you need to think out of the box, as one says, and to go to directions where nobody went so far. And this is not easy to find. It's you may not be able to go exactly where you want to go, and you need to think of going where you can go, and where you can go by taking the best of every piece of knowledge that you gain during your studies and during your life and the other experience you can you had the chance to go through so far.
Oh, thank you. So, we you covered one part of the question that I wanted to ask next. Could you elaborate how AI will influence, scientific discovery in the 21st century? Will it help? If it will, how will it help? What do you think about, ChatGPT and all those applications?
Broad question again for 30 seconds answer. Artificial intelligence helps on two things. One, I call it artificial intuition. That means that it helps you discover subtle correlations in large amounts of data. This is the case, for instance, in recognizing tumoral cells in breast radiographies, or in other types of radiography. This is one thing in time series. For that, it's a tool to help you in discoveries. The next thing that it will help is when you use the AI to parse very large sets of data and trying to use it for generative approach. That's a little bit what we are doing here in Alpha. We make experiments. We let experiments. That means we grow bacteria and we have mixes of plant extracts acting on them, and we let our AI learn the relationship between the composition of our mixes and the biological effects we are measuring. And so this is some sort of research that can be done and which will allow to progress with hypothesis-free approaches to problems that otherwise cannot be solved. Then the danger with all this is that scientists in part may be replaced. One thing that AI may not be able to do for the moment and maybe not in the near future is to dream. So that's an advice I could give also to students. Take sleep at night, dream, have fun, don't hesitate to have parties.
Yeah.
And dream.
Well, unfortunately, our time is running out, and it's a great pity that I have only this amount of time with such an inspiring figure as yourselves. And the first time I started to research, making my background research on you, it was a mind-blowing, the fact that you can improve the speed of reading, DNA by millions of times is really amazing. And well, thank you for coming to Nobel Fest, 6 Nobel Fest this year to Astana. My final question to you: will you participate next year?
If I'm invited, I would be happy to do so. I enjoyed very much this event so far, and I think I will continue enjoying it tomorrow. And I enjoyed, look forward to visit maybe further Kazakhstan, which is a country I didn't barely knew about, to be honest. I think I'm not the only one, but it's certainly a country worth discovering, and I can only recommend it to any tourist or to any visitor to think about Kazakhstan as a somehow exotic in quotation mark.
Well, thank you, Pascal, for your kind words, and we are definitely hoping to see you at the Nobel Fest next year. I'm urging the organizing committee to invite Pascal next year. Please do it.
Thank you.
I personally ask it. And who knows? I mean, maybe your visit here to Astana will inspire a next generation of scientists here in Kazakhstan. And I hope that it's going to happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.